All right, we're back. Judd'z Budz episode 166. Gretzky plus Benoit Pouliot. As always, your host Spogsy, joined by my good buddy Mr. at State of Hoppy. Hoppy, how you doing?
Better now with Pouliot.
Yeah,
the
GOAT.
It's a solid plug. He's like my GOAT as far as guys that I love to defend that people just irrationally hate.
Yeah, I was a big hater until he came to Boston for like 60 games. I was like, he's the best player of all time. I think probably he's in that discussion, I'd say.
And like, I'm not gonna even go like that. It's just like, was he a 4th overall pick? Like, no.
Right.
But he was a good player. The Minnesota Wild did the typical Minnesota Wild bullshit and said, hey, we're just going to play him on the 4th line for a bit and see how he pops. Oh, he sucks. Let's trade him. And then everywhere else he goes, he's like a 2nd line, like solid contributor. It's like weird. Play him with good players and things kind of work. Huh. A 4th overall pick isn't a 4th liner? Who knew? And everyone just says, oh, he's such a terrible player. It's like, I agree that it wasn't the best pick. But like the level to which people hate him just always blows my mind. Dude, I just got done, just crushed a shower beer, and I didn't even shower. I just like literally stood under cold water for a second. I've been like doing yard work and got a new grill. I got one of those Blackstone grills, and apparently you've got to like season them. So like you literally like put oil on it and let it burn off like several times. Something I've never heard of, but got it done. But I'm still like sweating now after jumping out of an ice shower. But did, as I mentioned, get the shower beer down. Have you seen these yet, Z?
What?
Bush Lime.
You are very frozen and up there. Now I can see it.
Oh shit.
I got like the took ice shower grill wash. I'm like, what is happening?
Couldn't stop me sooner.
I was kind of intrigued. I was like, let me see if I can piece this together, and it just got more and more.
What's going on with my internet right now?
It was very funny. Try to figure out, like, it was just like every word that I heard just did not correlate whatsoever. It was so funny.
Okay, I think my internet's good now.
Yeah, you're good. You're back. But it literally was like
it's funny
shower.
For you. It's gonna be really bad when it goes to audio, but whatever.
That's fine. Oh, and now there goes my internet now, so that's good.
Just to reiterate, banged out literally just like 1 minute of standing under ice water in the shower, but still took down a full shower beer because like you have to, because I've been doing yard work for a while and got a Blackstone, like the grill. And apparently you've got to like season it, quote unquote. So you like literally just throw oil on it over and over and let it burn off to like set the base. So, but yeah, I'm still sweating after an ice bath.
Yeah, it's hot as shit out there. I don't like it.
So Sunday, me and Logan are going with father-in-law, all 3 brother-in-laws and nephew to like grandpa wants to do a twins day with the grandkids, whatever. It's going to be 96 degrees. I'm going to die.
That's horrific.
It's been like 70 for the past 2 weeks. This weekend, boom, I'm dead.
That's a horrific temperature. I think we should make that illegal. Like we should stop it somehow. We need to cut it out. Like it's way too hot. It's disgusting.
Here, this really sets the table for it though. My brother is here for a couple months, even though he moved to Arizona. He said that it will be colder in Arizona that day.
I just got irrationally angry for you.
And less humid.
I am even more angry now. I'm getting angry. You have angered me with that statement. I don't like that at all. Again, fuck the heat. That's why I've been inside all day with the lights off. Well, other than going to do some chores or whatever. I just literally got home and then within 30 seconds jumped on here. But yeah, the heat, 2 thumbs down. Last summer, my fucking AC in my car broke, so I just didn't go anywhere. As much as humanly possible, I was like, I will walk wherever I'm going, including on like a New Hampshire vacation. I will walk there. I will see you at the end of the vacation because I am walking, which also doesn't really make sense because it's still going to be hot as shit when I'm walking 95 miles. Fuck it sucked. I was miserable. It had black leather seats. Humble brag. Awful, dude. It's awful. It's like you sit down, you literally become part of the seat. It's fucking terrible. Heat, no good. Hate it.
Heat is the worst.
How was Father's Day #1 as a father, dude?
I can't remember that far back. Father's Day #2 was solid.
Oh, true. I forgot. I don't know why I was like, it's his first one. First time.
No, didn't do anything exciting. Pretty much just went out and did whatever Laura wanted because I don't know. Like, I don't want to upset other fathers. Like, we do plenty of work. She's pregnant again. Second pregnancy is harder. And like, she does way more than I do. So I'm just like, I don't care what we do. We'll go do whatever you want. And what she wanted was partially going out and grabbing this grill, which was for me. So I was happy about that.
That's nice.
But no, nothing too crazy. It is just a chill Sunday. Went out and hit an art fair that she wanted to go to. Dude, Logan, there was a DJ out there. Logan was vibing hard.
That rocks.
Like, we just kind of let him go and he was just like bouncing around dancing. And then whenever there was a dog, we'd lose him.
The best. That rocks. Also, Mateo says, what's worse, 95 and humid or -10 with wind chill? 95 and humid. It's not close for me. I don't care.
Agreed.
It's like, it's not close.
Now, the real question is, like, it's all situational. Am I on a boat? I can deal with 95 and humid if I can jump in the lake. Am I outside for an extended period of time? Like, the -10 with wind chill eventually gets worse. But if we're talking being outside for range of like 10 to 30 minutes, I will take the -10 wind chill every fucking time.
Yeah, I can guarantee you I'm not leaving my house if it's 95 and humid. I don't care what I have to do. Like, I don't care if it's a life or death situation. I'm like, well, here I'll be. I'll be here. This is
AC
where I'll
belt
be. Inside. Don't care.
But I was asking you earlier, have you had these or seen these?
I have not. You're lagging again, but I have not. I've seen those. I have not had them.
Very good, like boat beer, yard work beer.
I have no boat and a very tiny yard. That my landlord just doesn't cut the grass, which is very funny. Like, or he'll have someone cut it like every 3 months, and I'm like, that is like, it's pretty gross out there, man. It'd be great if you could do that. But it's fine. There's always next year. Did just re-up. I guess we could talk about hockey.
Yeah, I mean, we just like lead in with the finals and whatever that was. Cosgrove nailed it. Florida put the nasty in dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
People are getting real upset over the definition of a dynasty.
It's one of the weirder, like that one specifically. I should have seen that coming. That it would be a really weird, random, like borderline vicious.
Well, dude, the best part though is Lazarus came out and said back-to-back is not sufficient for a dynasty. And it's like, let's look back at the teams that have been like considered for dynasty. Who's the one team that doesn't have a back-to-back? Chicago. Weird that he's like making this firm stand. Like, all you bitches that got your back-to-backs, doesn't count.
Not in my house.
Pay attention to me.
Here. Hey, me and Paul Maurice agree.
Kaprizov said he wants to be in Chicago.
Yeah.
Well, I want him in Chicago. Oh, shit.
Just saying. People are saying, and by people, I mean me. Dickhead. I don't know what it is about his Twitter presence. It is very
of the
annoying.
back-to-back teams.
He's got like the actually Twitter like fucking presence, and it really bothers me. Like I've never seen him like say anything on Twitter. I'm like, that was a cool tweet. That was worth saying. I've hated it every fucking time. Like I'm always just like, that's fucking bitchy and annoying. I can't do this.
Oh god, do we have to talk about Maurice right off the top?
Yeah, I have to get this out of the way. What a fucking dickhead. I like again, thank God it's over. So now I don't even have to look at him, hear his voice, listen to him tell some weird like story about like hockey and men and whatever. Like I'm just gets in the line too. And like also kind of bitchy that he was like looking at Knobloch like, are you gonna do it? Yeah, he's gonna get the fucking handshake line, you dickhead. Like also you really like you're like the game ended 15 seconds ago. You're like, do you wanna go on the handshake line? Like fuck off. Like it's so annoying. But gets right in that handshake line, loves it, and here we are. I know you were like, better not lift that cup, dude. That's for the players.
That's why he got in line for this one.
It like again, I am all about it during the regular season when I can pick and choose when I hear his voice basically and see him talk. But like as the playoffs go on, it's just like every fucking year. And of course, he's gone to the fucking cup final 3 times in a row now, and it just drives me insane. So, thank God that's done. I'll be able to replenish myself and not have to deal with it all summer, and then I'll be fine by the fall. But it is just like it's just annoying. I just get annoyed by it.
He wants to make it all about the players to make it all about himself.
Let me tell you why I'm gonna make this about the players that I coach. By the way, I'm the coach of them. I tell them what to do. Hockey and men, 2 things that I love. It's just like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, give it a rest for fuck's sake. Put the mic down, let the kids play. Yeah, he drives me insane. So that's done. But like that being said, what a fucking performance from that Florida Panthers team. Like, they play perfect hockey for playoffs. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, if you would have told me that the Stanley Cup winner, the third pair would be Nate Schmidt, and Dmitry Kulikov, and they weren't playing like 8 or 9 minutes, and they played like 15, 16. Expected goals when they were on the ice was like 87% in the series. It's insane. Like top to bottom, all 4 lines, all 3 D pairs have a role, and they just execute it perfectly. It's unbelievable. But what did you think about that game 6? I was kind of disappointed by it, even though it was like just an absolute clinic and like very impressive. What did you think about the game 6?
I was disappointed, but like not shocked. It kind of played out the way you would expect based on both of these teams. Like Edmonton looked good at first. And then all it took was one blunder, which I can't remember which account it was on Twitter that like went out of their way to make sure people knew that it was Matthias Ekholm's fault and not Evan Bouchard's fault that that goal happened. It'll come to me. I can't remember who, but like crazy that Bouchard got that much shade for that play.
I gotta tell you, I am still getting fucking replies to that tweet. It's I was gonna bring it up.
I was listening on audio. I'm very much joking because it was absolutely Z who was defending.
I have to pull up the amount of shit that I'm getting right now. It's crazy, and some of them have just been like, "Shut the fuck up, man. We all hate Bouchard. Hate him." And I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Hang on, I can respect that. That is them saying, I'm being irrational, be irrational with me, versus like, how can you not see that was his fault? And them being like oblivious, right?
some
They're
of
like,
them,
we know it's not his fault. Just let us have this, please.
literally, like they're like crying that I won't. They said it was fucking Evan Bouchard's fault. They're like, someone replied to us, "What the fuck are you doing? This is Bouchard's fault." I was like, "What the fuck? What are you doing?" That was
Yeah, I
2
love
days
that,
ago.
though.
It was 2 days ago, bro. Shut the fuck up. Like, literally, I'm still getting replies today. 133 replies. Like, it's insane. At least my boy Rob Schremp, he was just like, yeah, I thought that was an absolute hand grenade. I do not understand how people are going off on Bouchard. I was like, Bouchard. Literally, but Ekholm like was barely under pressure and decided to throw in an absolute grenade at Bouchard's knees. And someone said, I was like, what the fuck is he supposed to do with that puck? And someone just goes, I don't know, play it with the tape. And I was, it was his knee tape, the clear tape on his socks. Like, it's insane to me. So it literally goes, just take the pass. I don't know, idiot. Someone called me a dummy, which is kind of funny. This is like, all right. Good. But yeah, no, people were nuts. That was a ridiculous sequence from Ekholm. Not only did he throw that uncontested absolute scud missile at Bouchard's knees, he then got walked by Reinhart. And what a fucking goal. Like, obviously it was a ridiculous turnover, ridiculous mistake. But that goal while falling down was so nasty. So it's still very impressive, but it was like you said, for what was that, 4 or 5 minutes in, maybe those first 4 or 5 minutes, it was like all Edmonton, and Bob made a couple of real nice saves. They looked good. And it was the second that goal went in, though, the second that goal happened, it was over. Like, it was just like, it felt like that was the actual just like straw that broke the camel's back from like, because by the end of game 5, it really felt like they were just hanging on. And now that's playing off my phone. That was insane. That threw me off by a lot. It did feel like once that goal went in, it was almost just like Edmonton almost knew. That is Spokesy repost. This is blowing my mind. I've never seen
this happen before. This is never
me either.
Occurred.
I don't like this. Delete it. Delete it. That's it. End the stream. Spokesy ended the stream. The last like minute and a half, I've just been like, what the fuck is happening right now? No, but the second that goal went in, though, like Edmonton had no answers, and it was unbelievably impressive, like just how hard Florida shut them down. Not only like that game, but the last 2 games, I'd say, really. And it was, I think this is the one serious prediction I think I got right. I think maybe I said like Carolina will beat fucking New Jersey in 5. Maybe I said that, but this is the only one I was like, Florida in 6 feels right. I was really hoping, again, I was excited when Edmonton was like really playing well those first like couple minutes there, because I was like, they need to get one in this, like, as they're pressing. I was really hoping for a game 7 back in Edmonton, but what a performance. Again, Florida's just insane. And also, Sam Ryan had 4 goals in the fucking, like, the cup clinching game. Yes, 2 of them were empty netters. Don't care. That's still cool as hell.
Still very cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's crazy how this series started as everyone being like, holy shit, this is the best cup final ever, like 2 or 3 games in, and then it ended with like, oh, that wasn't even close.
I still, but even by the end of it, I was like, this series fucking rocks still.
Sure.
If not only just because, like, you knew even if Edmonton had nothing by the end of game 5 or 6, like, just by way of having a Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on your team, they're capable of something. But Florida is just fucking relentless. And like, they really just grinded them down. Like, by game 5 and 6, Edmonton just had no answers. Like, even McDavid. And like, if anyone, whoever doesn't follow Dmitry Filipovich on Twitter, you should. He posted a Gus Forsling like highlight reel from the Stanley Cup final. Holy fuck, he is incredible. Like, some of the plays he was making on McDavid, just stick on puck, just shutting him down, was insane. And like, McDavid still got his points because he's just going to, but some of those defensive plays from Forsling, like, legitimately incredible.
Do we want to lead with like pumping Florida or addressing Edmonton? Like, where do you want to start?
I guess we already started with the pumping Florida's tires, so we can just keep going on that front.
So incredible what they've built. Crazy that they've got like 3 notable guys that are all going to be free agents, and that there's already talk that they may be able to keep all of them, which I'm still kind of skeptical. But I think we have to address the fact that like they do have an unfair advantage. It has absolutely nothing to do with state income tax. Anyone that's complaining about that, we'll rant on that here in a minute. But the real unfair advantage is that they get to play in the East. Like their path so much easier than Edmonton's was. Like it's actually more impressive that Edmonton made it to the finals back-to-back years than it is that Florida has now made it 3, because they haven't really been challenged, have they?
No, it's funny though listening to the Leaf fans be like, let's hang the banner. We pushed them 7 games. So I was like, all right, that's
their food.
That's a level of like self-hatred that I love. Like just making fun of yourself. Like, let's hang the banner. We made it to 7 games. I don't fucking know, man.
The thing is,
we were cool. Like we were the cool ones here.
Half of them are like very much self-deprecating and joking, and half of them are like serious. Like, holy shit, we are good. Don't burn it down. Like, no. Don't be tricked. It's exactly what Brad Marchand wants. Don't play into it. Did you agree with Sam Bennett for Conn Smythe?
I was fine with it. Like he was so good, especially on the road. It's incredible that he like literally popped off for like his season high in like I think it was goals and points this year in the regular season, and he almost scored the same number of goals in the playoffs as he did the regular season. Also insanely impressive that I think only 2 of his 15 goals, 15, 16, only 2 of them were at home. Like he was doing on the road. Like it's incredible.
So everyone wants to like applaud what he did on the road, which very impressive. Is it not kind of embarrassing that he can only score 2 at home?
Let's start that. Let's get that going. It's the least impressive performance I've ever seen from a Conn Smythe winner. I think pretty much everyone was like resigned to the fact that he was going to win it.
I knew he would. I thought it should have been Marchand. I'll say it. You don't have to. Brad Marchand should have won it.
I could have. Yeah. I mean, like, if he had won it, I totally would have got that too. Like the thing with him that would have given like Marchand a leg up over Bennett was outside of that first series against Tampa Bay. Like Marchand was noticeable and a constant factor in like every series. Like that Leaf series, Bennett was good. Bennett and Tkachuk were good. They weren't like lighting it up. Marchand literally like people like that Toronto series, they were down 2-0. They go home. They're down 2-0 in game 3, down 2-0 in the series. They come back and Marchand scores the OT winner, and then they go from there. I mean, like, he also scores goals in 4 of the 6 games in this Stanley Cup final. Scored a couple in the conference final. That line was just ridiculous. Like, Lundell, Luosterainen, and Marchand was legitimately a perfect third line. They are fucking incredible. E2 Luosterainen is legitimately an unbelievable hockey player. That I forgot that was part of the Trocheck trade from Carolina. He is awesome. He is so fucking good. I think all but 1 of his points were at 5v5. It's ridiculous. Like he is insane. They have him locked up for 2 more years for $3 million. Unbelievable. Like he's a top 6 caliber player playing with Anton Lundell, who's probably a 2C, like realistically, and playing with Marchand. Marchand can fly up and down the lineup, doesn't matter. Like that line was perfect.
First, I think you kind of hinted at it, but it needs to be said. For me, it's not that like what Bennett did wasn't insane. Mm-hmm. It's that Marchand did it in the big moments. OT winners, big goals that literally shifted the momentum of a game, and doing it in like, let's be real, less significant minutes, playing further down the lineup. I just was way more impressed with what he did. And I think part of that too is like his age. He got sent from Boston, like weird for him to get in and adapt to the culture right away and just go. Didn't even play the regular season, just jumped in for the postseason. But like both of them, like it was a 1A, 1B conversation. I just really thought it should be Marchand, but splitting hairs.
Yeah. I mean, again, like either one of them, I was like, that those are the two guys that probably deserve it either way. I think I just knew like anyone that has a vote plus like notable hockey voices, whether it's on social media or just in the media in general, fucking love Sam Bennett. So like that was always just how that was gonna go.
I think that's just people that want him out of Florida, and that Conn Smythe just means the dollar signs go up a little bit more.
What a contract year. What a contract year. Oh my God.
Contract year. I'm torn based on something you said. Lundell, essentially a 2C. Does that mean that Bennett is like way more expendable because you've got him to slot up? Or does that make it the perfect like baton passing to like say, hey, Bennett, for the next 2 to 4 years, you are still our 2C. And eventually you're going to just slot down and be a great 3C when Lundell surpasses you and he's our 2C. Like, where do you see that shaking out? Would you rationalize it as, hey, we can replace him internally and now we just got to find a 3C, or we got to fucking keep this guy?
Probably the first. Like, honestly, I think it's a perfect situation where like they can strike a bargain. Like they can probably, I mean, yeah, the state income tax. I'm just gonna pretend to be mad about that just to piss people off. I could not care less of it. It's the biggest horseshit in the world. But like for me, it's kind of perfect if you're Florida because it's like you have Lundell sitting there who is absolutely a top 6 center. Like he's that caliber of player. He's fucking unbelievable. He was unbelievable this series too. You can kind of just be like, well, if Bennett wants like 10 million, like we're not going to fucking do that. Like whatever. At least we can go out and find a 3C. But if like Bennett's willing to stick around for less than what other teams are offering, like if he's willing to take a discount to stay there, that's even better, obviously, because you still have 3 ridiculous centers right down the middle, all at a pretty nice cap hit. Like I think Lundell makes 5 point something for another 5 or 6 years. That's unbelievable. Yeah, he makes $5 million for another 5 seasons. Like that's perfect. It's literally a perfect situation. Like their contract situation is unbelievable. You've got like Barkov locked up at 10, Kachuk 9.5, Reinhardt for 8.625 is insane. One of the smartest players in the league. For Hagee, 5 years, $7 million. Lundell, 5 years, $5 million. And then you got a couple guys like Rodriguez and Luosterainen, 2 more years at 3. And then Boakfist for at 1.5, and then you're pretty solid on D. Like especially Seth Jones, how good he was in the playoffs, and the fact that he's a like $7 million player in Florida. Perfect situation. Like they're just like they're gonna be good for a long time. Like these players, like their key guys are locked up. We'll see who they can keep, but like again, I think having Lundell locked up at 5 and the fact that he is that caliber of center, it's a perfect scenario for Florida to be like, all right, if you want to take however many years and $8 million, that's perfect for them probably. That way you can just be like, perfect, we've got this slotted for 5 more years, like 10, 8, and 5. That's incredible. So I think it's the first. Like I don't think it's a scenario where it's like we gotta fucking keep this guy.
We have to address it. The state income tax thing is fatiguing at this point. Like, sure, that's an arrow in the quiver. And everyone's said this over and over, but I'll just reiterate it for those that maybe aren't aware. No one gave a shit about this when Florida sucked, when Nashville sucked. No one cares right now when Seattle sucks. But the bigger thing for me is that, like, people are so narrow-minded. Like, that's one piece of the puzzle. Like, sure, Florida's a cool place to live, but there's other factors. Literally, if you go cost of living, they are the 6th most expensive state to be in. Like more expensive real estate, more expensive, like actual taxes on your real estate, expensive to go out and do things, whatever. The New York Rangers have been a destination forever. They've got some of the highest taxes in the league. Toronto Maple Leafs, some of the highest taxes in the league. Like there's so many variables that come into play here. There's some people that care about schools because they have kids. You sure as shit don't want to be in Florida for that. So like everyone talks about how unfair it is with all the different locations. Like there's benefits to every place. It's partially like what matters more to some of these players. Now, does that help to keep players and convince them, hey, take a little less to stay because, hey, net, whatever, like fine. But like no player is going to Florida. It's like, hey, no income state or no state income tax. Let's go. Like, no, that's a piece of the pie. And honestly, if you think that that's all that goes into what your take home pay is, you just don't understand. Period.
It is unbelievably irritating when people get we gotta change this. Like, first of all, how?
You
Second
can't.
of all, like we literally
like, are you gonna make it be straight up like, hey, percentage of
we're taking
like,
this to Congress. We're gonna take
what happens
away
when a player gets traded? Like, there's so many things, and it's just exhausting, man. Plus,
and again,
clear,
the most
on
irritating,
where you play the games.
The most
like,
irritating part of it,
Florida, right?
Yeah.
That's half of the games, and they get a little bit more sprinkled in because they play Tampa, because they play Dallas and Vegas. But like, basically, half of their games get that benefit. Not all of them. I don't know. There's just a lot. And I'm sorry, I missed that. Whatever was up on the screen. Cap wasn't as high back then either. Yeah, big factor. And actually, I think that's my bigger thing here, too, Z. How much is this shit going to matter in 2 or 3 years when I imagine not every team is going to spend to the cap?
right?
Like, at that point, it's like, who's the owner with the deepest pockets or most willing to pay these guys? There's no way that people are going to be maxing out year after year like they have in the past. So,
yeah, I mean, every time what I come back to is like, no one gave a shit about this until the Florida Panthers were good, until Tampa Bay was really good. Like, it's like the only time this comes up. Like, it's really annoying. But I don't know. It's also, I like when people get like angry and like not at me about like a video that I tweet out. So like, I'll just like stoke the fire so they go away from my Twitter account. Wow, this guy's making some great points about taxes. You guys should leave. Have you guys seen this?
Pakistan.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
By the way, my biggest takeaway from this, though, that's a great picture.
Florida State taxes, by the way, are the reason that Forsling didn't get claimed by anyone else on waivers. Important to note.
But I am so fucking happy for Brad Marchand. Literally, like, goes 14 years where like they've come close a few times in Boston. They're on the downturn. His play hasn't like dipped or whatever, but it's like he's not exactly like the same player flying up and down the ice. He's still fucking incredible. He must have thought at some point, like, I don't know if I'll ever like get this again. Because then he was a rookie when they won it the first time. It is crazy how many guys, like, I remember Tyler Sagan talk about the same thing. He's like, when you win it as a rookie, it's kind of just like, you just assume this is how this goes all the time. And then there's just like some guys never even sniff it again. Or your Corey Perry. What a fucking run of Stanley Cup final losses for that guy. I'm at the point, was it 5 of the last 6? I almost feel bad for him. I kind of do. But like, great content for me, to be honest with you.
You know how we test it, right?
Yeah, he's got Minnesota.
He's got to go to Florida.
True. Yeah, he's gonna sign Florida.
But
it is insane.
That is funny because I know Micheletti made a post saying like, please don't let Perry come here, and I just replied, I'm like, I don't know, going to the finals would be pretty sweet.
I'm down, yeah. Whatever, like, sure. But on Brad Marchand again though, and now the videos of him absolutely buzzing makes me very happy. I love the guy. He is gonna end up being a top 3 favorite Bruins probably in my life.
Rank him.
I can't. I would have to really take me a while to.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, probably. Just off the top of my head. Yeah, probably. I guess.
Like, I can do it for you.
Probably Bergeron, Marchand, Char, to be honest. But
really?
Yeah. But
wow.
Yeah, I'm just very happy for him. So love the guy. He deserves it. And like he said, he could have won the Conn Smythe. He was that good.
So
he's gonna be. It sounds like he wants to max out his contract, which I fucking love that for him.
I do too.
But very funny.
But say he signs for like $5.5, $6 million to stay in Florida. How much will Boston erupt?
I don't know. I think I'm sure there are people who have probably just like resigned themselves to the fact that that's a possibility. It's also very weird that people are like, like everything. Like, I think there was the Chicklets account posted like 1 million that were just like Bruins fans, cover your eyes, and we're like, here's the only good thing that's happened to us this year. Like, we love this.
Now,
Good for him. I fucking hate the
people are
Panthers,
mad about the thank you Boston chants, though.
Very weird thing to be mad about.
Agreed.
Like, just the weirdest thing.
Like, it's literally thank you for sending him. Like,
yeah. Like, hell yeah. This is how we were hoping.
If we're going to talk about disrespect, it's playing Pink Pony Club every third song.
Ridiculous. Like, holy fuck. It's insane, but
incredible.
I'm trying to think here as well. Anything else on Florida that we wanted to touch on?
I feel like you either got to get a massive discount or like, how do you bring Ekblad back? He can't be a priority.
No, I don't think. I mean, he got absolutely fucking abused by McDavid about 700. I mean, everyone I've been abused by McDavid. Just watching him do things to the teams that I like.
What is it in Mean Girls? Like, please raise your hand if you have felt like personally attacked by Regina George. And even like one of the teachers is like,
I'm sure there's going to be a team that's going to fucking throw a ton of money at him, which, I mean, okay. But,
Dallas seems like a reasonable spot.
Yeah. I think whoever going to throw him a big contract, you have to, like, again, he has to be playing with someone similar to a Gus Forsling type player where it's like you can really, like, shield the warts.
It is a great pairing.
Yeah.
I feel like, too, a big piece of this, like, let's say that all of Bennett, Marchand, and Ekblad want to get the bag, and Florida says bye to all of them. That'll sting because of, like, the volume, but, like, again, this is a team now that everyone wants to join. Like, there's going to be more, like, Giroux, Marchand. So many guys have been like, yeah, if you're trading me, that's the only place I'll go, so thanks. Mm-hmm. It's like every year, Zito's just sitting there circling the names of, like, hey, who's on the last year of their deal? Who are we going to be able to poach at the deadline? Well, let's go.
He is one of, if not the best GM in fucking hockey right now.
It's diversification, dude. He's doing it every possible way. He's got homegrown guys. He's gone out and like traded big assets, right? Big swings to bring in guys like Tkachuk and Reinhart. He's had reclamation projects. Like, impressive work by Mr. Zito for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's it for me specific to Florida. Now, I guess as a transition into Edmonton, I haven't seen this, but I'm sure I'm not the only one that's thought of it. Not enough people are blaming the Edmonton Oilers for the existence of the Florida Panthers.
Go on.
The only reason that Matthew Tkachuk is in Florida is because the Edmonton Oilers absolutely abused them in that playoff series. That's what ran Johnny out of town. That's what made Tkachuk follow him right after. They did this to themselves. They created the team that they cannot beat because Edmonton would beat most teams in that championship. Florida is so perfectly equipped to match any kind of counterattack that they want to mount, especially when there's no goalie, which maybe that's where we start for Edmonton. What do they do with goalie? I have a controversial opinion on it, but I want to know what you think.
Well, I mean, yeah, they obviously have to go out and they got to do something because, I mean, I don't know. They're going to have to either make a trade, sign. So I don't know. They obviously can't just run it back as constructed. I mean, like, what, Stuart Sinner is still 26. So, I mean, I think he's a fine goalie. Like, he's probably a solid, like, 1B maybe. And, I mean, he had several moments in this postseason where he made some great saves. So, they just don't have that goalie that you identify as like a 1A type goaltender. So there were like a lot of rumors last year that like they were trying to like get Swayman from Boston, which doesn't surprise me. They were in like Olmark discussions the year before that. Like they've been looking for that goalie.
Well, and the one that Jeff Merrick continues to bring up is Markstrom was this close to signing there. Mm-hmm. And then he got one extra year in Calgary, and he's like, sorry, guys, I'm going to Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
That changes so much. So there's not an easy answer. Like, if you have a good goalie, you hold on to him, generally speaking. If you're Boston, and I know you love Swayman and probably don't want to move on from him, I wasn't even going to go there, but since you brought Swayman up, would you trade Swayman for Bouchard? Straight up.
No.
No?
No, I don't think. Like, this obviously would be the worst possible time if they would actually consider trading someone like Jeremy Swayman, considering they don't really have another option that's even remotely close to a starter.
Yeah, but also, all right, I got a couple pieces here just to set the table, right? Florida kind of runs not just the East, but the league more or less right now. Like, if they can keep those guys, even a couple of them, like, they're going to keep going and going and going. If there's a time to be bad, it's when everyone else is trying to be good and compete with them. Like, Pittsburgh appears to be the only team that's straight up like, yeah, we're okay. Like, this is the time to sell off your parts to people who are desperate. And that doesn't mean that Swayman for Bouchard is the right answer. I'm just saying in general, like, wouldn't be the worst idea for Boston, who's absolutely not going to contend, just like Pittsburgh's not. But for me, there's not many good options out there. And if you're going to bring in a goalie, it's almost got to be a guy that's like viewed as being overpaid. And Bouchard's going to get 9 or 10 million. Like, there's no way around it. You can get by without him. You can't get by without a goalie. That's their ticket to getting a true goalie. Like, a true number one is trading Evan Bouchard. That's the only way that I can see it happening.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. For them too, though, I still think, I mean, especially with the way the whole playoffs went, Evan Bouchard has become like the most overrated and underrated defenseman somehow in the league at the same time. Right? It's like everything he does is just so notable, like for better, for worse. Like some of the points that he was putting up, like some of the rushes, some of like the goals or whatever, unbelievable. But then
dude, he had as many goals as McDavid.
It's incredible. Like he was, I think, he was third scoring in the playoffs, I think it was. So he just does so much for that back end as far as just like, you know, getting the puck up the ice and just transporting, and like it gives him obviously solid offense, good power play quarterback. Like the thing is, like you said though, he's going to get a ton of money. Like I'm curious to see what happens with like a Nurse, like Darnell Nurse situation, because those two, can you have both of them making 20 mil? Like, can they be?
But you
combined
can't
for
look
20?
at it that
like,
way, in my opinion. Everyone's saying that, and I get it. You got to view him in isolation. Like the Nurse contract. Why is that being stacked with Bouchard?
No, I'm saying in totality, like you would just take like once you have it's good. It's like the Leaf situation, except like obviously it's going to be McDavid, Draisaitl, and then those two. Like you can't have that much money wrapped up in like 4 or 5 players. I don't think. I mean, the cap's going up, so that's going to help, obviously. But I don't know. I think it's just more of again. Yes, you're looking at. How would we bring in a goalie? Would we have to move someone like a Bouchard? Like, yeah, you look at it like just based on him, but like when you're trying to figure out what you're going to be paying guys, that's why I kind of loop in more than just Bouchard. But yeah.
But that's a guy that's like a total difference maker for certain teams. I'm trying to think of like who the best goalie is that's overpaid. Perceptively, right? But still like a top 10, top 15 goalie that makes a difference for Edmonton. And no, it's not Gibson. If it sounds like the ask for Gibson is outrageous too. Like last year, Edmonton reached out and they're like, yeah, we want 2 firsts. So like, fuck you. Like, no. I don't know what the answer is there, but they have to figure it out because doing what they've been doing just isn't going to work. Yeah, it's tough. I don't know.
The goaltending situation in the next couple of years is going to get interesting in Florida. I think Bob's got one more year, and then they've got Vanacek there. Or I think he's actually UFA this summer too. And obviously they moved Spencer Knight for Seth Jones, so that's going to get interesting for them. I'm sure they'll be able to pull something.
You know
off
what
there.
though? We got to pause on that. That hasn't been talked about enough. Seth Jones fucking torched.
He was
after that
fantastic.
trade.
Like he was so good, especially that
I would
Toronto
argue-
series. He was unbelievable.
Obviously, like, sure, you can look at it and say that, like, what Marchand did, way more deserving of, like, Conn Smythe. I think Seth Jones was the more important ad for them. I think if they didn't have Seth Jones, shit looks a lot different in this postseason.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I've been one that has talked shit about Seth Jones on the regular, like, hand up. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I've been, like, beating the drum, like, oh, he's so good, get him out of Chicago. We knew he'd be better outside of Chicago, but he looked fucking good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's playing in the role that he should. And, like, I mean, he even elevated his play. It also, like, it's just a perfect environment for him, the way that Florida plays. Like, they're not over-relying on his, like, defensive prowess or anything. Like, a lot of what he does well is what perfectly suits
Plays more
the
free.
way the Panthers play.
Hey,
So yeah, no, he was a
girl.
huge ad for them, especially when Ekblad was putting stuff in his body that made him Superman.
that is very funny. Cosgrove, this is just a different conversation because Askarov is a young budding goalie. That's their hope. Gibson is like ready to retire. If we're talking Gibson like 6 years ago, I am all for them making that trade. They absolutely should make that trade. I don't think that John Gibson is the John Gibson that I used to obsess over and hope would end up in Pittsburgh. The one that people have been saying is Edmonton needs to go out and get Tristan Jarry. And oh my goodness, would I love that.
Hell yeah, dude.
For
They'll
so
solve
many
all their
reasons,
problems.
it'd be so fun.
Solve all their problems.
Oh, sidebar. Fuck Chris Drury, who said he's literally going to wait until the last hour to announce whether or not they're going to take this year's pick or next year's pick and which one's going to go to Pittsburgh. Don't enjoy that because I very much want him to keep this year's pick and just let the free roll happen next year.
Mm-hmm.
The side story being able to cheer against them and watch the potential demise, even though they'll probably be better. But just having that lingering will make me so happy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
Does Nashville move on from Saros? Well, the Yossi news isn't really news. He's supposed to be back to start the season, isn't he?
That's
I think
what
there's more an
they're saying,
explanation
man.
of like what happened last year.
Yeah, I think the release that they put out said that they're expecting him to be ready to go for training camp. So that's obviously great. And I wouldn't imagine they want to. I mean, like, if Edmonton want to do like that would be so because I mean there were rumors about the whole Saros thing, but then he signs and they move on from Askarov, which pretty much like sealed that or whatever. I don't think they would be in a good spot to move Saros whatsoever. I mean, I don't even remember. I'm trying to think if they've like gone out and drafted any recently or if they have like any decent enough options. But I mean, he is incredible when he's on. This year, everything about Nashville is a fucking disaster. So I would imagine he comes back strong. Oh, that was loud.
Very.
That was insane.
Yeah,
But
Edmonton's
who
got a
knows? If
lot
they were
of
willing to do it, Edmonton would be crazy not to try to make that happen.
I do also think, like, it's been said other places. This is definitely not like unique thought, but how different is this if Hyman plays?
It's huge. Like,
I don't think they win, but I think that the games look a lot different than maybe they do. But I still think Florida pulls it out, but like they got embarrassed.
that was a massive player, obviously, to be missing in this specific, like where, especially the way that he scores goals, like from basically inside the net. But like he's obviously just so good net front in and around the crease, like scoring dirty goals. Like he would have been a huge player for them. I mean, he always is, but he was a key missing piece. That being said, like I am still insanely impressed by how good Corey Perry was all playoffs at his age. Was he 40 now? I think he ends up with 7 or 8 goals. I mean, he's like noticeable. Obviously, I mean, he's never had like crazy foot speed in the first place. So it's always weird when that becomes an advantage as you get older. When guys like are able to stick around and just be solid players in the league, despite like just not being the greatest or quickest skaters. Like I feel like half the time they're so smart and they're just so like, they just know exactly where to be on the ice. So it just like ends up working out for them. It's like, well, I've never been fast, so this is fine. But he was so good. Like he was noticeable pretty much each and every game outside of his just like rat fuckery. But he was like scoring big goals for them and very noticeable. So like the fact that guys like him, he was able to step up his game even more so. He was very impressive, especially in Hyman's absence. But yeah, towards the end of the series, like they just had to load up that top line with both Draisaitl and McDavid because they just had like they were basically
you're beat at that point.
Yeah, they had to do it. So
did they have to?
I mean, they were just getting nothing from anywhere else.
Yeah. What do you think about the news swirling around one Trent Frederick?
That is a crazy contract if that actually goes through. In 8 years, $4 million. I wasn't surprised by like the $4 million piece, especially again with the cap going up. But like locking in that deal for 8 years is nuts. I love Trent Frederick. He was not good this series. He only had a couple moments that I thought were solid. That whole fourth line was a bit of a disaster. But I'm kind of just like. It's like legit stunning to me that they watched the playoff performance. They're like, gotta lock that up for eight years. Gotta give them the max term. It's like, holy shit.
Wild.
That's insane. If that actually goes through, that is legitimately psychotic.
We gotta address Michael Curtis's comment here. Perry was one of the few to play Florida's game. I loved that. Like repeatedly, Jeff Merrick has brought up for the past like week and a half, I think. Corey Perry just played against a team of Corey Perrys and realized how much he hates playing against Corey Perry.
It's like, goddamn, is this what it's like all the time? Like,
oh my god,
crazy!
No wonder people hate me. I'm a prick.
Wow,
this sucks.
I got some reflection to do. I got some reflecting to do when I go home.
What a bad human of Evander Kane not come back out after. Yeah. People freaking out just to like.
Was he allowed to come back on the air?
I don't think so, dude. That's why. Like people like doing that are just trying to support their own agenda of hating him, which I don't blame anyone for disliking.
He is not great.
Evander Kane. Not a great guy. He is not leading team likable, which is crazy that Brad Marchand somehow is. Like that's just a weird, bizarre world.
This has been a crazy 6 months for that specifically for like my own experience with Brad Marchand. This has become insane where it's like, holy fuck, now people fucking love the guy.
Get out of Boston. That's all it takes, man.
Yeah, I think it was the Four Nations thing, honestly. That's where it started, I'd say. But well, it's crazy. Well, he also just went to like one of the most hated teams in the league. It's just like, and we like him. I'm like, this is crazy. But yeah, no, the Evander Kane thing, I don't even know if he was allowed to come back on the ice. I also don't care, but he was, for a player that's as good as he is, it is unbelievable how in his own way he gets all the time. With like, I get trying to like be an asshole in the playoff hockey or whatever, but some of these penalties he was taking were legitimately some of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Like that slash on his face.
They got to him, dude.
It's unbelievable. Like that happens so often with him. But I'm like, this guy is legitimately such a fucking good hockey player if he just wanted to be a solid hockey player and be like a piece of shit to play against. But like, I don't know. He just gets in his own way all the time. And it's just crazy.
Usually wouldn't be surprised though. Like usually I'd be like, yeah, this is typical Kane behavior. He was so good up until this series. Like he was a difference maker all through the West.
Yeah, he was really good for them. Yeah.
But then you reach the finals and like he basically him and Perry basically carried the load by themselves as far as like being Florida Panthers, And
It is such a mistake by other teams, by the way, trying to like even entertain playing a Florida style against Florida. Like they're better than you at it, and they love it when you try to fucking like imitate the way that they play. Like you can't do it. Like they like it is legitimately they do it perfectly. It's unbelievable. And like again, the epitome was that fucking game 3 where it was just a complete shit show. And like Edmonton was trying, once the game was done, they were trying to like get things going at the worst possible times. It made no sense. Then they would get their ass whooped. And it was like, Jesus Christ. Like it looks like men versus boys, dude. It's crazy. But yeah.
Yeah. I think that largely covers.
Yeah, we could probably move on now. Congrats to the Panthers. Congrats, my boy Bradley Marchand.
I hope he goes out and gets the bag. I just don't know where it's going to be.
Yeah.
Imagine him and Bennett going somewhere together, though. That could be very, very interesting. All right. Johnny Banana, come on. Rossi for Corey Perry, 6-year extension in place.
Oh God.
Minnesota Wild. Everyone outside of Minnesota seems equally confused about the Marco Rossi stuff, so I don't even know what more we can do there. But we should probably talk about the article that honestly I didn't even see was up until Mateo told me before the show. The trade tiers for the Minnesota Wild. Let's run it down. Don't even ask. Now, it's funny because, like, there's obviously a caveat to this, but Kirill Kaprizov, he's the only one in the don't even ask tier. But in about a month, if he hasn't re-signed, it all of a sudden becomes please ask. Like, I don't know. I feel like it needs to be said, though. That could change very quickly.
Yeah, as I mean, it's most obviously, like obviously anything can happen. The second we get to July 1st, if he's not resigned, all of a sudden it's going to be insane anxiety, and we'll see how it goes. But I would imagine they said they're going to do everything in their power to keep him. They're giving him a blank check, so we'll see what that number looks like.
Not going anywhere division. Matt Boldy, Brock Faber, Jules Eriksson-Ek, Zeev Buyam, Matt Zuccarello, and who's the last player on this list?
Gotta be JoJo.
For Tony Pants, it's Marcus Johansson. He's got a full no trade. He's not going anywhere, like, period. So I guess it's funny that he's in this tier, though, and he's not with the don't even ask tier because, like, again, it's not happening. The one that I feel like we need to talk about Matt Boldy because he's a guy that everyone has opinions on. I think we both understand that he has highs and lows. Consistency hasn't really been there. Had a great postseason, which was new. Do you feel like this is a guy that you like are planting your flag and saying like not going anywhere, or is it just like you better like sweep us off our feet if you want him, kind of thing?
Well, I mean, I'm on the latter as far as like any player, but like for me, he's as close to don't even ask tier as you can get probably without being in it for me. Like, again, sure, inconsistency has been an issue with him. He's also
consistently inconsistent.
22, 23 years old. Like, especially with the cap going up now, 7x7 for like his caliber player, like is bargain. And
but
just
for a guy like Marco Rossi, disgusting.
Yeah. And what he just did in the playoffs obviously is an amazing sign. So as this team continues to get better and tries, assuming they get to the point where they're in contender status, like that's just going to bring out the best of Matt Boldy. And again, like I was just going to say, Mateo just put it in here, consistent line mates would help as well.
So there's my question though, because he's pretty consistently been with Ak.
I would say though, yeah, X missed a ton of time over the last couple of years with injuries.
Sure, but
That's where I just land on that one.
Sure. My question is, how do we feel about him not with Kaprizov?
I think he's fine. I mean, again, we saw this is the first year that obviously we missed a ton of, like, Kaprizov literally missed half the year, and again, like, Boldy had his up and downs. I don't know. I'm not worried about that, to be honest with you. Like, again, what he did in the playoffs, yes, Kaprizov was obviously a huge part of that as well. But there were plenty of just like unbelievable individual efforts from Boldy on some of those goals, some of the plays he was making. And again, like his value on the PK, defensive ability, like I think he's just such a valuable player. So again, 7x7, nope, like that's amazing.
Incredible value.
Yeah.
Likely not going anywhere division. Phil Gustafson, Marcus Foligno, Jake Middleton, Declan Chisholm, Jesper Wallstedt.
Yeah, I mean, that feels right.
Disagree?
No, I mean, I think again, like the one that, like, for a second I was just like, I had to pause on was the Chisholm thing. I mean, they're gonna whatever throw him that qualifying offer. But I mean, when we had all those injuries this year, he ended up becoming a really, really important player. And obviously the beginning of the year was looking pretty rough when he was like over relied on it in stretches. But when those injuries came in, he all of a sudden really elevated his game. So it doesn't surprise me. But again, if someone wants to throw a big offer, like, or like a legit offer, I'm like, okay, like it's not like that's like it's going to be a backbreaker if you move on from him. But yeah, I don't really disagree with any of those.
The It's Possible division is where a lot of the fun is. Ryan Hartman, Jonas Brodin, Jared Spurgeon, Yakov Trenyan, Carson Lambos, David Juracek. I feel like there's one that I'm going to push back on, and it's probably not one that you'd expect. Out of those ones, which one stands out as like, no?
The Juracek one's fascinating.
That's the one for me.
It's like, that would be a borderline disaster. It's like, give up all those pieces. It obviously, like, I mean, a big thing was just like he ended up with a lacerated spleen or whatever the injury was at the end of the year. But to give up that many picks plus Damon Hunt, it would be, I mean, it's like hard to believe they would actually do it. So, but I mean, again, if it is like you package him with like a Rossi to go out for that, like an actual legit trade, then I guess that's where I could see it being a possibility. But it feels like it's possible, even seems too much. Like, it's like, really, is it actually possible? Like right now, that seems crazy to me, but who knows? Again, I feel like the only scenario where I said happening at least this offseason, if you package him to go out and make a huge trade.
For sure. With how important Forsling has been, I think it would be difficult to move off Brodin. I think the real question there becomes, how much longer is Brodin that guy? Are the injuries a concern? And do you need to make room for other guys on the blue line when Brodin is a guy that would definitely fetch a solid return? Especially, I mean, shit, imagine with the right team packaging Brodin and Rossi. That's definitely the path to getting something back of value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, I mean, again, I obviously
I don't want to move him.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I imagine that's where the Wild sit on that too, where it's just like he is a critical piece of this team right now. But given the fact he's got the injury history, what's he, 31 now? And you are looking to make some room on your blue line. If someone comes in and blows you away with an offer, or if there's just like, again, part of a package that you can't turn down, like a player that you really identify as like, we have to acquire this piece for our forward group, then obviously you have to at least think, like, consider whatever. But right now he is just too important. Again, unless you get blown away with the offer. The other one that was interesting there was Spurgeon. where I feel like it's
I think
a
they're both in the
similar
same
conversation.
category,
Right. Again, like you've got Faber as your number one right now, and then you're obviously looking to make room for a guy like Yurchek. So if someone comes in, blows away with an offer, you'd have to at least listen. But I would feel like it's possible. It feels pretty unlikely.
So then the last group, most likely to be traded. I know you'll be shocked to hear that Marco Rossi is a part of this group.
What?
Equally shocked to hear about Liam Ogren. Damn it, Ogren. And then the last two, Freddie Gaudreau and David Spacek.
Yeah.
Interesting names.
Dean read this furious. He was furious or excited. I don't really know.
He licked his chops.
Yeah, I don't know which one it was.
It's been a year. He can acquire a Gaudreau now.
Yeah, he probably called him after this article dropped. He's like, I'm so sorry that they wrote that about you. I cannot believe this. And they had a counseling session. Yeah, I mean, again, I think we've resigned ourselves to the Rossi situation. Although, like,
I'm not happy about the Ogren piece.
The Ogren, I get it at the same time. Like, I love Liam Ogren. I think he is an incredible prospect. He was so good when they just sent him down to Iowa full time. Obviously, lit up the score sheet on a not great team. Like, he was even driving the offense on that line a lot of nights too. Again, if you're gonna have like a player, a prospect, and a pick go out for a big piece, like I don't think Liam Ogren's necessarily like a franchise-altering loss, but he is a really, really, really solid prospect. And given how good he was in the AHL, like I would imagine he's got some pretty solid value. But again, so Johnny Bannon, I just put it in here. Moving Ogren just to move would be a mistake. I would be shocked if that would be what they were. If he were to be moved, I would be shocked if it was just like for futures, like sure, picks or whatever, or like a prospect for a prospect. Because
so how would you feel about Rossi and Ogren for Peterka?
I've been confused by that because, like, I mean, I fucking love JJ Peterka. I would love him to be in Minnesota again. Like, I don't know why people keep talking about him as like a center. I think he doesn't play a whole lot of center in the first place.
Anyone talked about him as a center? I didn't know
that. People like, I've seen people like, oh, the Wild, they're like, yeah, they gotta move on, or they're gonna trade Rossi. They're looking to bring in a center. They're looking at, and they'll bring up Peterka. I'm like, he's what? Where? How did we get here? Like, where did that?
Brad Marchand, next 2C for the Wild.
He's gonna be a first pair left shot D. Actually, Brad Marchand. Again, I love JJ Peterka, but I just feel like that would be the wrong player to bring back if you're moving out like a Rossi.
How about
the Ogren thing makes it interesting, I guess. But
like, do you think Rossi and Ogren for Peterka, like just in a vacuum, makes sense, or is that too much? Like, not thinking about team need, right? I'm just saying, like, is that even a fair trade? Because I sit in the camp that I think you're overpaying for Peterka at that point, but maybe not.
Right. Yeah, probably. Because, I mean, again, Rossi, despite being shoved down the lineup and then sat on the bench so often down the stretch in the playoffs, like, he's showing you how good of a player is, and he's only getting better. And again, the center position. I mean, also, if you're Buffalo, like, you're going to bring in another, like, undersized but solid player, like skilled, all that stuff. I don't know.
Played really well with one of your wings.
It's true, but I don't know.
So Marco Rossi now, where things sit, fascinating to me. Like, I don't think Guerin is going to get what he wants. Unless he's prepared to, and this is a total exaggeration, but unless he's going to pull the Tkachuk deal, where Florida clearly overpaid to get their guy. But they sent out pieces that they knew just weren't going to be part of their future anyways, so they're like, whatever, we can stomach it. He's going to have to pull in more than Rossi and Ogren if he wants to get a top six center. Like, that's just a fact, right? So is he willing to pony up or put more on the table to get that done? As it sits right now, that's not what we're hearing. If something's not done by the draft, odds are nothing's getting done, which means they're going to wait and see if Rossi gets an offer sheet. Unfortunately for Rossi, this is the worst fucking year to be an offer sheet candidate, because next year, the 2026 draft with Gavin McKenna, those are the picks that are being served up for compensation. So I don't know if he's going to get an offer sheet. Then what? How do they solve this problem? Like, I almost feel like the only solution is going to be a 2 or 3 year, $6.5 million deal, which Minnesota doesn't want to do. But I just don't see any other path to resolution. Do you?
I mean, that's probably the closest thing they can do as far as like giving themselves a chance to get the return they want down the line. Like, again, it's a terrible fucking UFA year. Plus the guy that you were convinced you were going to go out and already signed with Colorado. Like,
stings.
They're in just a really weird, it's a really weird time for them to do this. I mean, I get it, like Rossi's contract's up, so they have to make a decision, whatever. They obviously aren't super comfortable going long term, so that's probably not going to happen, or it's definitely not going to happen. So it does feel like, unless they're willing to just make a trade that's pretty underwhelming, like the only real solution that gives them a chance down the line to like at least get a decent enough return is like a short bridge deal. But I don't even know if Rossi's going to take it. So
I think
like that's
a bridge if the number is high enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, like with where they're at now, like it wouldn't be surprising to me if like the relationship is so strained that it's like I would rather just go somewhere at this point. Like obviously you are like upset that I'm staying. This is weird.
But I think it's the opposite actually. I feel weird saying this because clearly Bill Guerin will never be okay with him being 5'9", even though famously he was 5'9" when he drafted him with no indications he'd grow. But I don't think Guerin has an issue with him being here short term. Problem is he's going to have to stomach paying more money so that Rossi at least feels vindicated that he will be utilized not on the fourth line. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the real gap because I think Rossi likes the teammates. I think he likes being here. Obviously, the relationship with the organization, not great. Players can turn that page. Like, dude, think about all of the arbitration hearings. Think about, dude, Jeremy Swayman's still in Boston, right? Like, you can resolve it, but both sides got to give. Marco Rossi does not want a bridge deal. He's going to have to at this point. The Wild are not going to sign him long-term if a trade doesn't happen and if an offer sheet doesn't come through. He's going to have to accept a bridge deal. Wild do not want to pay him more than $5 million. Guess what? You're going to fucking have to if you want to get this done.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm with Mateo here. He says, so the Natchez scenario, sign him and then make the classic Billy November trade for a 1C on a team off to a bad start. Like, I think that is absolutely the formula here. Either Rossi comes in and proves you dead to rights wrong, and you're like, all right, you stuck it to us. Sounds like you're our guy. Or more likely, there will be a team that struggles, needs to make changes, wants to get younger, realizes that they're not going to do the thing this year. That's your chance to make a move mid-season. But you need to make sure he's not a distressed asset. And I understand. Let me start. I don't understand why they buried him in the lineup in the postseason because I think that he was a better option than a lot of guys. But I understand if Bill Guerin truly believed that Rossi wasn't the guy. I understand him being like, I care more about winning this series than I do about the value of Marco Rossi this summer. Fine. Either way, he turned out to be wrong, but whatever. I can at least get on board with him being like, I don't care that his value went down. I did what I thought was right. Stand by your convictions. You gotta play him first or second line starting. Like that's the only way that this gets solved for both sides. So I don't know. I'm going to be sad when he goes, but I've just resigned myself to the point that it's not going to work long term here because both sides are not happy with where things sit. I hope he lands in the right spot. I just don't think it's going to happen this summer. I'm starting to think that he's going to be here to start next season. I just don't know what that contract's going to look like. I feel like what gets him out of RFA status? Is it 3 years or more? Because that would be problematic.
He is.
Oh, fuck, he's probably 4 years.
I think it's 4, right?
That's not happening. So yeah, maybe a bridge to a bridge. Take a 2-year, $6.5 million contract that does not hamper the Wild. Long term, like you're not committing, but he is absolutely worth every bit of that $6.5 million based on what he's done in the last 2 years. He is. Like, deal with it, Billy. Let him go out and torch to start the season. Play him with Kaprizov as much as possible and send him out to the highest bidder. If that's truly what you believe needs to be done, I'd love to see him stay. I'm just not a believer that that's an option at this point long term.
Yep. Still
right.
annoying.
Oh, I'm
Gonna be annoying.
But
yeah. So
only prospect talk. Shout out to our friends MNW Prospects. Ryder Ritchie officially going to be you, even though we knew this weeks ago and everyone's like trying to pretend that it's breaking news right now. But yeah, as broke by Colby Cohen like a month ago, Ryder Ritchie is in fact still going to be you, which Judd Brackett has to absolutely love. I still kick myself that I didn't ask him that, but I hate it just from the perspective of, God, I wish he was playing for a Minnesota school, but going to be awesome to see him play on a competitive team. So I guess I can't be all that mad, but goddamn, BU is going to be interesting next year.
yeah, they've got a couple guys coming. It's going to be interesting to see how they figure out what to do with their lines or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to watch him in person. He is so good. And again, it is crazy how many guys we've seen go from the CHL to college, like immediately. Like, I feel like it was like a week where it was like we saw 25 different names go from CHL to college. I was like, holy shit, it's just like it's happening over and over again. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's going to be a real perfect spot for him. And again, I'm just excited to watch him in person with a really fucking good BU team. And now we're going to be on Gavin McKenna watch because he has made it pretty clear that he will be going somewhere. But
I didn't know that was confirmed.
It's pretty. I mean, you can't literally confirm it, but like.
So does he go with?
I think
Ryder
everyone's
Ritchie,
assuming.
Or does he go with Caden Lindstrom?
Well, they've talked. Well, I mean, like Ritchie and McKenna have talked about like trying to go to college together, end up in the same spot. I don't think McKenna's going to end up at a Boston school, though. I think he's not. I feel like I've mostly seen rumors about like Michigan. But it's interesting. Apparently he's like not in a rush to commit to anything immediately, which is like so fucking rock star, which is very funny to me. So we'll see what happens, but I don't know. Now we're on McKenna watch though, which I think we're going to be on McKenna watch for a while, even though it's fucking mid-June. Like you gotta decide, bro.
I'm torn. Do I want him to go to a Big Ten school so that I can like see him, or do I just want him nowhere near it because I don't want to deal with it? Because he's not going to be with the Gophers like that. I'm not even going to begin to wish for that because he's going to be a one and done.
I would imagine you would love him in the Big Ten just to watch him.
Yeah. Oh, baby. WHL top 10. Now, would Gavin McKenna be a no shit first overall pick if he was eligible right now?
I mean, I don't think you could just immediately say it, but he's in the conversation for sure.
Like if what he did this year was in his draft year, is that good enough to make him one?
Oh yeah, probably.
We're taking a year away from him, essentially.
Probably. God, where is this?
All right, well, let's break down the final top 10 list. WHL, jumping right in here. Number 1, Jackson Smith, left-handed defenseman, 6'3", so technically a giant. Z's got him in the tier of 5 to 10, playing for the Americans, which is ironic and funny.
But I do believe he is officially committed to Penn State, so I think he is going there.
I didn't know he was.
That's
Dang.
true. I might be wrong, but I'm fairly certain.
I've seen a lot of Penn State stuff. He is not one of the ones I saw, but I believe you.
Yeah. I love Jackson Smith, though. Again, he's got the size, 6'3", 195 pounds. Left shot D, man. Pretty young, but offensive creator, and his offensive game's still growing, but like the mobility, the hockey sense, the physicality at his size, love it. I think he's got a huge upside, and even if he doesn't like pop off offensively at the NHL level, I do think like his fallback game is so good. You could potentially see like some version of like a Travis Sanheim, maybe that's even better skater. Again, just big, rangy, really solid defensively, play killer, really good in transition, both offensively and defensively. So given the size, how well he moves and how smart of a player he is, and just the fact that he's starting to experiment with those offensive skills and like toolkit that he has, I think he's got huge upside. So I probably on my final list will have him either 5, 6, or 7. I think on draft day he'll probably be early teens, maybe mid-teens, to be honest. I think there's just some other players that are just gonna end up being taken before him, but I love Jack Smith. He's a fucking awesome player, and again, I'm fairly certain he's headed to Penn State. I feel like that's official, but just a ton of upside with this player. So Jack Smith is my first overall out of the dub.
All right, number 2. Carter Bear, which, God, it's awesome that he's got a bear on his jersey. That just makes it so much better.
So good.
Center / left wing, so we'll get into that. 6 foot, so again, a giant, barely. Everett, Z, is he a center or is he a wing?
I think he'll probably transition to the wing in the NHL, I would say, down the road long term. But I mean, he is certainly good enough to play center. I don't know. Again, he's a bit of a pivot, but he is just, I think he's going to go way later. Like, I don't think he's going to end up being a top 10 pick. He ended up hurting his Achilles, I think it was. But he's back skating now. So
like a 10 to 15 range guy, more likely, right?
Probably like closer to 15, to be honest. But like, he was so fucking good this year. One of the biggest or most intense competitors in this draft, just fearless, super physical, even for his size. I mean, like, yes, he's 6 foot, but not exactly like an overwhelming presence just when you look at him. But he's really good on the forecheck. He ended up just becoming this solid dual threat for Everett this year. Like when he's on his game and he's giving you that offensive pop and he's hitting everything that moves, he kind of like gives you shades like a Brandon Hagel type player. So I'm a big fan of Carter Bear. It sucked that he ended up having that injury down the stretch, but popped off offensively, super intense compete level. Again, I just think there's a ton of upside, and I think he's also like one of the smartest players in this class. So I love Carter Bear.
Confirmed playoff guy. Let's put it this way. If Boston takes him, are you disappointed or are you okay with it?
I mean
they don't trade back.
I'm probably okay with it. I think on my final list, he's going to end up 8, 9, 10, I'd say. Probably 8, just off the top of my head. But I would be absolutely more than fine with a Carter Bear at 7th overall to Boston. I just think he's
I would buy
player.
A Carter Bear, Meth Bear jersey.
If we had a Bear Bruin jersey, it's too good. I think
I'm pretty perfect.
I think in my buddies over at Elite Prospects, I think like one of the traits they listed for him, like usually when it's like a fucking super intense compete level type player, they'll be like got that dog in him, but I think they got that bear in him for him. I was like, nice little, it's attention to detail like that I love.
Off that Z segment idea that we're gonna explore, whether it's this summer or like in the fall. I think it gets abused when people say like a guy's got that dog in him. Like they say that about so many players. I think we need to assign dog breeds.
I love that.
I think that'd be a very fun exercise, especially just given your branding as a dog guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know my son would be very proud. Every time we see a dog, it just points.
Arf,
arf. Arf,
arf. Arf. I'm in.
I think that's something we're going to have to explore, but fair. Carter Bear has that bear in him. Very fun. Number 3 for the WHL, Raj McQueen. I am kind of stunned that he's number 3. I legitimately expected him to be number 1 on your list. So tell me why. Center, 6'5", falls in the draft tier of 8 to 16 and is number 3 on your WHL top 10.
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna end up being a real tough player to figure out, like where I end up with where he ends up on my like final list or whatever. Again, when you just look at the foundation and skill set that he's got, it's just so tantalizing how good he was down the stretch last season, and then to start this year before he had the back-to-back injuries. Got misdiagnosed, I think, with a bulging disc at some point. And ended up missing more time than they expected. But like I think it was the first, I think it was 8 or 10 games, maybe. I mean, he was just going off. But what he's able to do is like a human highlight reel, like over the last, again, start of this year, down the stretch last year. Ridiculous shot, super high-end playmaker, and he really, over the last year or so, has brought like just solid defensive impact. Again, the big thing is just going to be the injuries are what makes this risky. And anytime it's a back problem, that will always scare the fuck out of me, because those tend to like be lingering forever. Like once you get one.
Now, how much of that is because of Caden Lindstrom?
I mean, I don't know. Like there are guys that have had like back issues forever and it's always plagued them. Some guys like just deal with it and are still unbelievable. Some guys like it legitimately like ends up slowing down their career / ending their career. So like, again, it's just like there's a range of outcomes where it's like, hey, they could end up just being fine, or like this is going to be something that is going to be a constant factor like their entire career. Like it makes me nervous. But like, again, like if you're a team picking in like from the 5 to 10 range, like it's not crazy. Like, you know what? Yeah, it's risky, but don't care. Like there's just not going to be a whole lot of players with this type of a profile at center over the next few years. So like we're going to go take the home run swing. But he can do just about everything you're looking for in a top 6 center. And just like how the playmaking has evolved and his defensive impact has just made him like one of the, if he was not injured, he would probably be at the top 3 discussion. And for some people, he probably still is. Again, like I think EP finished with him at 5 in their final rankings, which I get. For me, actually, any back issue is always going to scare the shit out of me, but that's what it is.
Same question though. Bruins pick at 7. If they take Roger McQueen, are you excited or are you like nervous?
Still excited because he's that level of play. Like he is a legit top 6 center upside type prospect. And again, he's got the size, the physicality, which sometimes he goes overboard. Obviously, like first game back from injuries, immediately gets, I think he got thrown out and suspended, just blowing someone up from behind.
He's got that weed in him.
Yeah, if he could just pick up the foot speed a little bit too, then he would probably like. I'm sure there's a lot of teams that would be having that discussion. Like, is it him or Misa? But like he's just that good. But I love him. Like he is an awesome player. He's just gonna make me nervous. Yeah, that's how we ended up in 40 PIMs in 17 games. I think it was one of those games with 15. I think the first game back it was 15 or 20 PIMs. I was like, whoops, yeah, welcome back, motherfucker.
Number 4, Radim Mertka, right-handed defenseman, which means he's highly coveted. 6'6". Oh my goodness, you've got him in the tier of 8 to 16. I think a lot of people have him as their second defenseman off the board behind Schaefer.
Mm-hmm.
You have him here, obviously at least your third. Tell me, like, what are the positives and what are your reservations on a guy like Mirka? Which I love the last name. I have to say that's going to be all name team when we get down to it. Which, holy crap, next week is the draft. That means we have to do all name team next week. Uh-oh.
Well, I mean, like, just the first thing to say is, like, moving from the Czech League to the WHL this season was the perfect decision for him. Like, he wasn't, like, everyone knew, like, given how well he moves, how good he is in transition at that size, like, he was always first round caliber. But then he goes to the WHL in Seattle in the WHL, and he's playing like 28.5 minutes a night, doing literally everything, like being their number one defenseman. Like, so much of their play goes through Mirka, like transition especially. He's so good. Again, it's incredible to watch just how big he is, how well he moves. Like, he's like just floating around, but like how good he is in transition with the puck. Like, as far as like he can transport it himself, he can pass up the ice. Like, he is just unbelievable. Plus, like, again, he is towering. He is physical. He hits hard. And his like, you just could not, how good he is with his stick. And again, like, you can't beat him wide. Like, it was borderline impossible for like these skaters in the WHL to get around him and score. Like, he was that good this year. So he's made himself into a potential top 10 pick for sure. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if he ends up top 10. Like, I feel like automatically, if you just like blindfold a GM and you're like, yo, 6'6", right shot, D, man, they're like, first dibs, first overall, we'll trade everyone to get that pick. We want him that bad. But
it'll shock you to learn that Corey Pronman is definitely one of those who says he will be the second defenseman off the board.
I would imagine he, like, I'd be surprised, to be honest. At this point, I'd be surprised if he wasn't. Again, it's with him, like, if he can continue to just be like playing with the elevated pace, which I think he can do, like, then he's going to be like, no doubt, top 4 D-man in the NHL and not long from now. Like, I don't think he's going to need that many games or that many years before he ends up being in the NHL. He is just that good. Like, he is such a fucking good defenseman at that size.
Oh, number 5, Braden Coots, center, 6 feet, important, tiers 12 to 18. And this is one of those guys that maybe before we even get into his profile, Z, tell me, just yes, no. If the right deal is there and the Wild could trade into a position to get him, is he a profile of center that you're like, yes, the Minnesota Wild would love to have him?
Oh yeah, 100%.
All right, tell me more about him.
He, like, his style is just already like an NHL centerman. Like, he's a one-man forechecking machine where he's like turning pucks over and creating offense. Decent enough shot, but really, really smart hockey player, high-end playmaker. He drives play. Like, he kind of can do a little bit of, like, when him and Mirka were on the ice together, like, it was like just a cheat code. But he's got just an unrelenting motor, energy. Like, he can do literally everything just in one shift. Like, he is that good. And again, he's still getting bigger too, which is even more interesting. But gives you impact both ends of the ice. Again, like, probably more, again, definitely more of a playmaker than like a goal scorer or whatever. But every once in a while he'll flash some super high end skill, but he's just super smart and is pretty much making the correct decision every time he's on the ice. But he's awesome. Big fan, huge fan of Braden Coots. I feel like it's interesting that he doesn't get talked about a ton, but pretty consistently, whenever you look at like draft rankings, he's somewhere between like 10 and 20, like consistently. But I feel like he just doesn't get talked about a ton.
Is it because he just falls after the group that everyone's debating a bunch and he's like clearly in that next group? Like there's people that want to say Frondell is going to go 3. There's people that want to say McQueen might go 3.
Yeah.
Brady Martin's making the jump. Like, is he clearly in a tier behind all of those guys? And is that why he's kind of being ignored? And like, is he clearly the leader of that next tier? I guess is the question.
Yeah, I'd say he's like he's definitely, I would put him firmly in that next tier. I think for him, like when you compare him with guys like Frondell and McQueen and whoever you want to put, like any of those centers that are up there, I think with him, it's just like I don't necessarily see as much of like the potential upside. I think he's got a super high floor and a decently high like potential ceiling. But I just see him transitioning to the NHL and immediately like being an impact guy again, probably not your like first line center. So that's where like that distinction probably comes in, but super smart, again, flashy playmaker, really handy at both ends of the ice. So I think he's a firmly like atop that like next tier of players.
Beautiful. Number 6, Lyndon. Is it Lakovic or Lakovic?
Apparently it's Lakovic.
That's disappointing.
Very
he already moved down in my tiers.
I'll be honest. I'm going to keep saying Lakovic. I'm going to keep saying Lakovic, though. I have to.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
6'4" left wing. Same draft tier. What do the people need to know about Lyndon?
Going to be fascinating to see where he goes. Like 6'4", his size. He's one of the older players in the draft, so that always comes up too. It's the same thing with what's his name? McQueen's one of the older players in this draft too. I think he's
what is the best time to be born for the NHL draft? Like we're being too old, too young, like doesn't matter. Like, do you want to be like right in that middle ground, or do you want to be younger or older? Like what?
I think you want to be younger. Like you get more. It's like he's doing this at this age. Like for this among his peers, in this draft class, he's doing this at this age. Like that's what comes up in me every time I talk about Matthew Schaefer. I'm like, it's insane that he's a week and a half away from being eligible for next.
Is this why Austin Matthews can't get it done for the Leafs?
Gotta be. Have you considered moving your birthday?
I mean, when he barely missed the McDavid and an Eichel draft, you just know that he doesn't have that dog in him. Matthews has that turtle in him.
That's brutal. I think at the end of the day, Lyndon Lakovic is going to be one of my draft sons. Like I fucking love, like he is, like his highlight tape is comical. Like almost every goal that he scores, you're just like Sports Center top 10 mode, and just a fluid mover, dual threat scoring, can control the game with the puck on his stick at the wing. Like if he can like continue to be more physical consistently, that'll unlock a whole other like element to him. But there's just not a whole lot of players who have evolved like him. Like he was looked at primarily over the last couple of years as like, yeah, he's got an interesting profile. Obviously he's a decent enough skater. He's big and like he's got some skill. At this point now, like it's like in terms of pure skill, he's probably top 5 in this class, just like raw skill. Again, like what he can do with the puck on his stick, he makes any defensive look stupid. The fact that he's not the quickest skater, but like so many of his goals come from him just driving wide and like making a skill play and sniping off the rush is very impressive. Again, I think he's a super smart player, and the skating has like taken a step over the last couple of years, so that's been interesting. It's been obviously boosting his game, but he's again not like the quickest skater in the world, but like pretty fluid just in terms of like the movement, which is always interesting. I think the pace, like there is another level there that he could probably hit. He's one of those few players that you've seen like their skating legitimately like change like over the last couple of years. So, but I think he's just got super high upside. Again, one of the most skilled players in this draft class. Can score from distance, can beat you wide, score skill plays. Pretty decent both ends of the ice as well. But he is one of my favorite players to watch in this class. Again, like I'm going to be putting together like the highlight tape for him, And it's like the goals he scored, they're just like legitimately comical.
So tell me, we talked about how Florida Panthers are changing the way people view stuff. Show me the good skater on the Florida Panthers.
Oh, I mean, I've said this before. I definitely don't put skating as high on my like list. Usually,
I'm just saying, like, does that change things? Like,
right.
Does the recency bias of the Florida Panthers and watching a bunch of guys that are very average at best skaters dominate? Does that have the potential to propel a Lyndon Lakovic? No, Lakovic. We're sticking with it. Does that change things or still no? People haven't caught on.
I don't think so. But I mean, again, with him, like it's like his skating is legitimate. Like he's a solid skater. He's just like, he doesn't have the top pace, but he's completely changed his like skating style. He's so much more fluid and he gets so much more power in each and every stride. And he's become so fucking agile at his size. Like he is very, very impressive. But again, for him, the big thing that everyone's going to talk about is like just the skill and the goal scoring ability. And like he's legitimately driving play from the wing on a very like pretty bad fucking Moose Jaw Warriors team this year.
But help me understand. And like maybe I'm like getting way too granular on this. Like a 6'4" winger who you just said, like, you don't personally take skating that much into your breakdown. You've got him in draft tier 12 to 18, but you say he's potentially a top 5 skill. Is it just because he's a wing that he's in your 12 to 18 tier? Or like, what is the negative? What's the holdback on drafting a Lyndon Lakovic besides the fact that his name is Lakovic and that's lame?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I would probably change that to the 10 to 15, maybe. I mean, I think again, more so just the fact there have been other players who have just like climbed over him or whatever, but it's been like this, like the last 2 years of when he's really popped, and there's just like a bunch of the other players too have just like, this has been who they are, like their whole career. Like they've always kind of been a like whatever Team Canada, Team USA guy, super high upside, like talked about forever. Like he's come on the scene like probably last 2 years or so and really just evolved his game. So again, like if like let's say your team takes him like 7, 8, 9, 10, you're totally just gambling on upside. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like I would, like he is that fun to watch. He's got that much upside. He's legit top 6 winger potential for sure. And again, on the skating piece, like basically where I come in is like it's a bonus if they're that size and they're not like just relying on their like strength and physicality or whatever. Like if you have that next level of like just fluid mobility and you have a little bit of pace too, that's just a bonus.
Sure. Fair. All right. Number 7, WHL top 10, Benjamin Kindle, clearly a big reader.
Nice.
5'10", so he's a legal midget. Incredible jersey, though. Right wing, you've got him in tier 12 to 20. Break it down.
Love Benjamin Kindle. Gonna be another one of my draft sons, I think. Super, super smart. Incredible in transition. Some of the best vision in this draft class. He really popped offensively. He's got a great shot that he just, for whatever reason, over the years didn't really use that often until this year, and he kind of just popped offensively. So many of his points, I mean, again, 99 points, 65 games this season. He's another guy that got hurt down the stretch, but he's back playing, so he's good to go. But a ton of his points came at like even strength. Plus, he gives you the defensive upside. He can play a little bit of center in a pinch if you need him to. Like he gives you legitimately everything. The big drawback with him is just going to be the fact that he's 5'10", which I do not care. At certain points, he was leading the WHL in scoring this season before he got hurt. But like for him, question is going to be, it's funny, we were just talking about this, the skating thing. That being said, he is so smart and he is still unbelievable in transition. He creates passing, shooting lanes, everything. Like he is that good. So I think he's one of the smartest players in this draft class. So I don't really care about, again, I don't care about skating that often anyways, but that combined with like the physicality part of the game might be what keeps him from being drafted in probably like the top 15, I'd say. But I love the kid. He's very fun to watch. And just like relentless pace, vision. You can score from range, and it's just so detail oriented too. Like everything he does is calculated on the ice, and I love it. So big fan of Benjamin Kendall.
Nice. All right. Number 8 in the WHL top 10, Blake Fiddler, right-handed defenseman, 6'4", so an absolute giant for the Oil Kings. You've got him in the draft tier 20 to 25. Sell me on Blake Fiddler.
Super interesting player. Like as far as just like tools go, he's one of the toolsier defensemen at this size in the class. He's so good in transition, both offensively and defensively. He can kill plays. Super mobile. Like he rocks. He's very fun to watch. Plus mobility, ton of puck skills. But like even with that, he is an absolute stud as far as like just shut down D, like very physical, very smart. He's awesome. Like I am a big fan. I was surprised he hasn't got more love too, as far as like more people talking about him. But like I feel like pretty consistently see his tier being somewhere from like 20 to 30. But like given given the tools that he has in his bag, the size, how good he is defensively, like I'm surprised we haven't seen more people have him closer to like 15, to be honest. But I don't know. But ton of fun. Love Blake Fiddler. Also always interesting when you see an American kid go play WHL. But he rocks. Plus he got the NHL bloodline.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
Number 9, which I kind of thought he'd be at least a little higher on your list. Cole Reshney, famously going to a horrible, desolate, barren wasteland that has a really cool hockey rink in North Dakota. 5'10", so legal midget. You got him in the 20 to 25 tier. Position forward. Cole Reshney, how worried should Gopher fans be about this kid, and what should NHL teams think?
He is really fucking good, especially down the stretch. Like at the beginning of the season, he was obviously like a notable good player, but he's like not super, but like definitely undersized and not a pretty average to below average skater, like not super mobile. But as the year went on, you just saw the evolution as far as like the playmaking, goal scoring, the vision, and the details to his game really started to pop. And then he just started scoring and filling up the net. So he's like open ice playmaker. He's like also like he creates down low, ton of skill. I think college hockey is going to be a really good move for him too. But again, just one of the smarter players in this draft class, and he's got the high-end playmaking. He's continuing to grow too. And if the skating can kind of pop off a little bit more, he's going to be a super intriguing player. But I would imagine he goes somewhere late 20s, just given like the foot speed and the like undersized nature of this, like the profile or the prospect profile. There we go. Got that out. But really intriguing player. So it's interesting to see that he's going to go to Nodak. He's awesome. Big fan.
Rounding it out, there will be some snubs. Number 10, Cam Schmidt, left-handed defenseman, 6'3", so he's a monster. Something's off here, Mateo. It's okay. It's fun when we can poke fun.
Yeah, I don't know if
it's definitely not accurate.
I don't know if Cameron Schmidt is a 5 foot. It's so funny that it's listed as 6'3". He is the big question that's going to potentially keep him out of the first round. He's 5'7".
I was going to say I thought Cam Schmidt was small. I didn't know he was 5'7". I thought he was 5'8" or 5'9", but okay, 5'7".
But he is an absolute sniper. It's just an incredible shot. He is probably the fastest player in the class as far as like the raw foot speed goes. And despite his frame, he is not afraid of anything. Like he can take some hits, he can dish him out on the forecheck at times too. But he is just like an absolute fucking sniper. Very fun to watch. An absolute dog.
Well, he's been talked about too as like a direct comparison, mostly because of size, with LJ Mooney. And Corey Pronman was criticized for having Cam Schmidt like around like somewhere in the 30s, and then having LJ Mooney like at 100.
Yeah.
Compare the two for me. Like, why is Cam Schmidt way more proven and a guy that you would take in the first or second round than a guy like LJ Mooney?
I mean, first of all, like LJ Mooney just didn't play a ton of hockey this year, given the injuries. I think he actually missed the combine too, but
he wasn't invited.
Right, he wasn't even invited. That was the
which
thing.
is insane to me. That is bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like Cameron Schmidt is just more of like a press. Like he is legitimately, he is a monster. Like he is just relentless. Again, one of, if not the best skaters, and definitely in the conversation with the fastest skater in the class. But like he just can take over games where you're like, if the puck's on his stick, there's a very good chance into the net. Like LJ Mooney does a ton that stands out as far as like the raw skill play goes and everything he can create for himself. But I don't know. I would just say you notice it a lot more with Cameron Schmidt. Like he is just like that guy every shift. And he is just relentless, like just an insane motor. And his shot, again, like I would say, the shot probably blows LJ Mooney's out of the water. He is legit. Again, the big thing, it's like he's 5'7", 160 pounds. Like if he can make it into the NHL, like you potentially have like supercharged version of Alex DeBrincat, like it's...
No, address this though, Z. Mateo says it's funny that if he was 6'3", that tier would probably be accurate. Would you take him top 10 if he was 6'3"?
Probably, I don't know, if none of the other tools, like if it was literally just the fact that he was fucking 6'3" and like super physical, I guess he would be in the top 10 discussion, I guess. Okay. But like he's that small. Like again, I generally do not care about like the heights or whatever, but he is so small. He is tiny.
Small. All right.
40 goals in 60 games in the dub on an average Vancouver team. Very impressive too.
All right. Honorable mentions, which I know this is WHL, Mateo, but I'm a little irked that you spelled it like a Canadian, but we'll address that later. Now, honorable mentions here. Any in particular you want to get into here, Z? We've got Joshua Bergen, goalie. We got Max. Is it Seneca?
Mm-hmm.
Right-handed defenseman. We got Nathan Bem, who's a winger. Matthew Guard at center. And David Lewandowski at left wing. Big Lewandowski.
He's from Germany, so it's Lewandowski. Yeah, the W is a V. Well, the first one. That's always interesting to me, by the way. It's like it's not like Lewandowski, or maybe it is actually. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like the big one's obviously Ravensburg, and I do think he ends up probably being a first-round draft pick. He's probably either I would say he's going to end up being the first goalie off the board. What's interesting is I think like throughout stretches, for sure, he outplayed a guy like Jack Ivankovic, but Ivankovic was like regularly taken by Team Canada over Ravensburgen. Fascinating thing with him, like Ravensburgen, 6'5", 190 pounds, and like walked on to the Prince George Cougars a couple years ago, and would just like last year ended up being one of the better goaltenders in the dub. And then this year, Prince George was like a little bit all over the place, but he was still solid. But he's a goaltender with size, moves well, doesn't get hurt. That's the other thing. It's always interesting now seeing what the ideal goaltender size is too. Like sometimes you worry about like a Ben Bishop situation where it's just like they get hurt so often, but I mean, I don't know. It's always that doesn't really come into like the draft conversation, but it's just interesting to me. But he's got legit upside again. I think he probably ends up going first round. I'd be surprised if he didn't. He's got the upside too. So I think that's the most interesting one. That was when I battled with him or Schmidt. I just couldn't help myself with the upside with Schmidt, putting him at 10 instead of like an honorable mention. So, but yeah, no, Ravensburg is probably the one of these out of these guys that ends up going first round, probably somewhere 20, 25 maybe. I'm always going to be nervous about goaltenders, but I think he's legit.
Wherever the Oilers draft, they'll trade out of it and someone else will take him.
And then Max Seneca, another guy that came from Czechia and transitioned into the Dub. And he like just did wonders for him. One of the biggest second half risers in the class. Big 6'4" right shot defenseman. Very physical, decent skater. And I think there's more offense in there for him to unlock. And then he's really got some seriously high upside, but probably the offensive upside is what keeps him from being in, at least in my first round discussion. But play killer, 6'4" right shot defenseman that's super physical and really solid defender. So he's going to be probably someone that teams really, really like early on day 2 right now. But yeah, it's probably the extent of what we need to discuss with these guys.
All right, fair. Couple other topics just on the NHL draft stuff. I gotta ask you. Obviously, you've made your declaration on who is the better, more coveted player, but looking at Misa and Hagens, would you say that these are similar prospects? Like, do they play a similar game, or are they completely different players?
Wait, Misa and who?
Misa and Hagens.
Oh, Hagens. I would say, I mean, they're both super, super highly skilled, high pace centers. Same time, I think Misa drives his line significantly more, and plus he's also just really good two-way. Hagens has that legit skill, offensive upside. It'll be interesting to watch him this year, like being the primary play driver on his line at BC.
So it's pretty easy to not be the play driver when you play.
Exactly. So it's always tough to gauge. That's what's the toughest part to gauge with him this year. It's just like, be like, well, he didn't like drive his line. Like, how the fuck do you want him to do that?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have to. Oh, like, and also he's a point per game at college as like an undersized center. Like, it's impressive.
So would you agree though? Like Nick Smith, NHL Central Scouting, said that for the most part they're fairly similar prospects.
Yeah, I still again I think the difference just is the fact that we have seen, especially what makes Misa to me a little bit more impressive, just the fact that, like, first of all, he had the exceptional whatever status playing in the Dub at 15 or 16, like legitimately being a point per game player. And then as Saginaw took off, like he ended up when they won the Mem Cup, he was used primarily as like a 5-on-5 third line right wing guy, more leaned on even more for his like defensive upside than like the offense, but like chipping in obviously offensively as the year went on. And then this year they finally give him the reins as their 1C, and I mean he just absolutely popped off factor every single time he stepped on the ice. And just the dual threat, like the shots ridiculous, the playmaking is unbelievable. Like he is super smart. So I think he ended just having a more well-rounded, it's like a well-rounded but like super high upside profile. But again, it is kind of annoying that Hagens didn't need to be relied on this year, because I think it would have answered a lot more questions.
For sure. And I think that's why he could almost be a steal, quote unquote.
I think he's probably not. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up somewhere from like 7 to 12, to be honest. Like there's some guys I just know teams are going to be potentially that high. I almost said 10, and I was like, nah, I need to keep going. I wouldn't be shocked.
If he lands in Pittsburgh,
I'd
I'll
be
be very, very
I'd be
excited.
disgusted if he
That'd
went
be
that low.
insane if he went that low. Okay, a couple other things we got to get to then, and we'll be quick. But we've got a quote here from Chris Pronger on the Called Up podcast. That's your boy, Cam Robinson, with Chris Peters, which, if all goes accordingly, next week, Chris will be the guest on Fellowship of the Rink to preview the draft.
Nice.
That'll be fun. But Pronger says, I'm a firm believer that for defensemen, it takes about 300 games to really understand the nuance of the position, learn the league, learn the players, learn the tendencies, and really understand how to play the game at the highest level. It was so refreshing to hear that after everything you and I have said over and over and over about people needing to pump the brakes and chill the fuck out about defensemen developing, because Brock Faber is the exception to the very much battle-tested rule of defensemen don't figure this game out quickly.
Right.
So I just figured you'd appreciate that one.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's just so few players that, like, it's, especially when you just, like, I remember, like, when I was growing up, people, when we talked about, like, this type of stuff, it was like 200 was, like, the number that always got thrown around. But just given, like, the speed of the game and how ridiculously skilled, like, almost every player in the league is at this point, like, being like, a legit shutdown defenseman in the NHL is insane. Like, it is unbelievably impressive to see what guys like Gus Forsling do. I mean, again, there you go. Like, he was a guy that took forever, or not forever, but like maybe teams either just weren't patient with him, but like they're thrown on waivers. Then he goes and just like lands in the right place in Florida, gets the ice time, gets the responsibility, and now look at him. He's one of the best defensemen in the league. Like, it is so fucking hard to be a defenseman in the NHL. So yeah, that feels right. 300 feels about right.
I love it. Two other things. One from another podcast, your neck of the woods. What Chaos? An idea was brought up that the Boston Bruins could trade their number 7 overall pick to the New York Islanders for Noah Dobson. How would you feel about said arrangement?
No.
I figured you'd say that.
Disgusting.
Can I say I do love the idea of them using Dobson to somehow get in and still be able to get James Higgins?
Yeah.
Philly could do it.
True. This is true.
I will admit that I
crazy.
was wrong. Very wrong. But I'm still not willing to completely back off my stance that I'm just not totally sold on Noah Dobson.
Yeah.
I don't know what he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think we've seen, again, it's like he feels like at times he's like a more reliable, not quite as much offense version of Bouchard sometimes. Like, sometimes I feel like that, but I don't know. Then I've seen flashes where he's just like a fucking animal. But again, still very young, but he's got all the tools that you look for in like someone that can give you offense from the back end. I mean, he's awesome. I love the player, but who knows?
Fair. Last one, because I can't believe I forgot to bring this up when we were talking about the Oilers at the beginning of the show. I can't let this episode end without bringing up the fact that Brian Boucher, standing right next to Stuart Skinner, sat there and waxed poetic about how Stuart Skinner needs to be back in the game for Game 6, while also thinking about the awful situation of Jake Ottinger sitting right next to Ray Ferraro as he basically says, yeah, this guy fucking sucked. Like, Ottinger had to watch that from the outside, be like, God damn it. Like, why couldn't it have been Boucher chilling next to me?
Yeah. Oh, shit, that was way better. That was way better option for him. Huh.
Just so funny that it was the opposite.
Yeah.
Man. But I think that's it. Still firming it up 100%, but the plan next week for our live stream on Monday, last one before the NHL draft. Going to be a little bit later than usual, but the plan is to bring on one Jesse Marshall for an extended stretch, talking a lot of prospect stuff. Jesse's the shit. Honestly, like,
we just followed each other the other day on Twitter.
Oh, nice. It'll surprise people when I'm in a market that has great writers like Michael Russo and Joe Smith. I subscribed to The Athletic back in the early days because Jesse Marshall made the pivot to The Athletic. And I'm like, yep, I need to get this. He is the most entertaining writer for me on The Athletic. Just the way he writes. I still think that like Russo and Joe are some of the best in the business. Like they got the information. They're really good writers, but Jesse has a way in his writing where he'll tell you what he's talking about. He tees it up. He'll show you a video of what it is he's talking about. And then he will break down and explain what he just showed you with that video. And it's just, I've always loved it. And bonus points, he's a Pittsburgh Penguins guy. So a lot of the stuff revolves around that, and big fan, but big prospect guy as well. And he watches the league as a whole. I think one of the better videos that was put out was him and Dimitri that did the Matt Boldy film breakdown. Like, dude is just one of the best out there. Very excited to have him on. Hopefully it works out and we have him on for a slightly later edition of our Monday live stream next week.
Hell yeah.
But I think that wraps it up. Anything else we want to hit on here, Z?
I don't think so. I
Sick.
think that's it.
Next week will be a big week for us. Lots of NHL draft stuff. Naturally. And then this summer, we'll figure out things to talk about. There's always random news that pops up. But next week, anyone that's listened to us for as long as you have, next week going to be jam-packed. We got to talk about Z's draft sons. We've got to break down his final rankings for the draft. We got to talk about all name team. I'm already exhausted thinking about it, but it's going to be great.
It's going to be something. Confirmed. Something. But yeah, one more week. Then we're on to 2026 NHL draft. It doesn't even it should 2026 sounds so weird.
2025 sounded really weird at first too, in fairness.
And 2024. Let's just rattle off all the weird ones. Let's just
skip to 2040.
2000, dude? Oh my god. We all almost died. All right, let's get the fuck out of here. This is whatever.